Ladies and gentlemen, we are recording this in the middle of the day. Welcome to the latest episode. If you're watching on YouTube, usually Aiden and I's hair is on point. We have hats on. If it's not today, no hats, hair not on point. We look crazy. We look disheveled. I am disheveled because we're signing Lenville Joseph. The Eagles are trading for Dejean Dotson. I can't even say his damn name because I'm that disheveled. Aiden, how are you? Actually, no, I don't care how you are.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm doing great. Hey, the hair's not too bad. I think we look all right. And how you pronounced his name is how I plan to pronounce his name in the parking lot after a few beers. But another thing, I did have a hat ready to go, but it was a Temple hat, and I can't, in good conscience, wear a Temple hat today when our Penn State boy Jahan Dotson is coming home back to PA, wide receiver 3. Problem check solved. Jahan Dotson is an Eagle.
Where did he play high school ball?
I know he's from relatively this area. I think East Norton is Nazareth. Okay. See, not too far away. Back home,
Nazareth's
baby.
Finest.
Oh, my goodness. Was that where you went to school?
Help me understand this real quick from somebody more, a little bit on the outside, right? I understand he's an addition and he's an upgrade easily day one. I mean, he's a wide receiver 2 on most teams.
Including the Commanders.
But is this telling us, like, I thought Paris Campbell was showing out? Or it's just such great value?
Both. So Paris Campbell he did get hurt. Johnny Wilson, I'm still very high on. He's very high in general at 6'7". And I just think this was a matter of this was a better option. The value is there in terms of the trade. We'll get into it. I just don't understand how these trades keep going down and how people are agreeing to these trades with us. But the value, he's better than John Ross. He's better than Johnny Wilson. He's better than Anais Smith at this point.
Not better than Devontae Parker, who decided to retire, though.
I had high hopes for Devontae Parker. But you can see, like, this has been a constant all off season. We've talked about it multiple times. I did a video on it. I at this point, if this trade wouldn't happen, I was afraid to bring up the same topic. I was like, are we getting repetitive talking about offensive guard and wide receiver 3 on this podcast? Like, I was afraid to bring it up anymore. But you could tell, like, they constantly were trying to figure out that position. Problem solved. I don't think they could have solved it in a better manner than the way they did.
No, I mean, like you said, he brings that swag too. He looks like he just fits in perfectly in that wide receiver room too. He's going to show out at home. Dare I ask the question? Do you know a question I'm going to ask?
No.
Is this the best wide receiver room in the league?
Oh, honestly, from top to bottom, it honestly might be.
Seriously,
I think there are better. You could make the case for, like, other wide receiver 1s and 2s, like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are great. But who's the wide receiver 3 on the Dolphins? I genuinely don't know. Is it Braxton Berrios? Yeah,
or Wilson, the ex-Cowboy.
Oh yeah, you're right. See, there you go. And like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, great. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, while it's still last.
Is Ayuk going to play?
I was going to say that one. I don't even know the 1-2. If you Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, sure. I don't know who their wide receiver 3 is, and Nakua's hurt, and he's played 1 year. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely
could you argue the Texans maybe?
That one you could absolutely argue.
Nico Collins is a great, 3. I think they'd be up there with you guys.
Yeah, it's very true. Honestly, I think Nico Collins might ascend beyond Stephon Diggs. So if you're going matchup by matchup, I think AJ Brown's better than Stephon Diggs, but
I think he's better than all of their options right now.
True. Yeah, he's the best of that group, but you can make the case like Tank Dell, I would say, is better than Jahan Dotson at wide receiver 3. So you could make the case that is a deeper room. But in this case, they signed Joe Mixon. That was great. But we signed Saquon Barkley. Like, they had Dalton Schultz. We've got Dallas Goedert. So if you want to just keep rolling out skill position players, that's better. And oh, by the way, in case you forgot, we have a top 5 offensive line in the league. They're like a bottom half, which scares me. It's the only thing holding them back. So just all in all, we're having fun. No, I said the bad word. Fun. Oh, fuck.
Oh, don't. You were having fun with the Phillies earlier, too.
Exactly. Look what happened. Look what happened. We wouldn't have been doing this show today if Whit Merrifield would have hit a walk-off double last night. I thought that was going down the line. You would have never heard from me again.
Anytime you mention that word from now on, I'm gonna have Vince just drop the clip from Remember the Titans. Zero fun, sir.
Not so much fun anymore, is it? Is it? No, sir.
Yeah, I hate everything about this. I really do. When I saw it,
I love.
Well, first of all, I don't know. I saw the tweet, or I don't know if I saw it on Twitter or Instagram first, but I was reading it. At first, I just saw the picture and I was like, okay, who is that? And then I read it. I'm like, wait, what? And then I was like, wait, why did he put up a picture of a Steelers player then? Because that they had that like black jersey, that weird Commanders one, and it looked like the Steelers. And I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh no, I got it.
Things have changed. I've been watching a lot of throwback clips on TikTok. They'll put like games in 10-minute spans, so it's like a lot of highlights. The jerseys these days, I feel like every year I'm like, wait a second, I think I'm getting old, because you're right. Like the black Commanders jersey, not bad, but at the same time, I'm like, when did this happen? When did everybody have a black jersey? That like the Falcons and the Commanders should not look alike in my brain. That's not how we grew up.
If the Eagles struggle on offense this year, it better be because one, they had 7 injuries, or that's actually it. That's the only reason.
That is true. Yeah, injury health is always the main concern. Like all of this always looks good on paper, but you have to be out there. You have to be able to play. You have to put the pen to paper. And make it actually happen. And they're one Lane Johnson ankle sprain. They're always one Lane Johnson ankle sprain away from none of this working, as long as he's been a Philadelphia Eagle. So that could happen again, and they could be screwed. But you're right. If this is 11 for 11 healthy, there's no reason that they should not be competing for the division and the playoffs for NFC championships. And there's been a lot made of like Jalen Hurts versus Nick Sirianni. And I think for the most part, that's just kind of blown up nonsense for drama and something to talk about in an offseason where I'm constantly talking about guard and wide receiver 3. But if this team struggles, who should they choose to keep? If you struggle in this offense, they're keeping none of those people. You don't get more strikes if you strike out with this group.
I cannot believe, I don't understand how you have the ability to re-sign not 1 but 2 wide receivers in one offseason, and then have the ability to continue to still trade for a former number 1 first round pick at wide receiver, instead of just having the ability to just sign 1 top 3 receiver in the league. I don't know.
It's got to be crazy from a Cowboys perspective. Howie Roseman looks like a witch. If he was in Salem, they would have burnt him at the stake for what he's doing. The numbers are not making sense. It feels like The Big Short, where they're like, "You're doing what?" It feels like that's how we're running our team, but there's no bubble. I want to get into that because the best tweet I've seen on this so far, Danny Heifetz, who runs the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, he was like, the Eagles are the fantasy owner who is constantly in communication with the worst 2 to 3 owners of your league. And you're constantly making trades with like the bad people in your league. And in a league
that has no ability for others to say veto. No to trades.
Yeah, there's no veto system, and they're constantly trading with it. The Commanders, there was a report that they would want to move on from Jahan Dotson, which, okay, fine. I don't fully understand that as a whole, considering he hasn't played with Jaden Daniels yet. To trade him at age 24 to a division rival when he has a $1.5 million cap hit, and pair him with 2 wide receivers that you already could not cover. And one of the most viral clips of this past season is Emmanuel Forbes targeting A.J. Brown and then not being able to cover A.J. Brown for the next 7 quarters of football in which these teams played. To add to that war chest for the Eagles makes no sense value-wise. It just makes no sense. And I think if there was the problem that he was overwhelmed as a wide receiver 2, he falls in perfectly as a wide receiver 3 for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep. I mean, okay, now that he's gone, right? Let's talk Washington. So obviously Terry McLaurin is their wide receiver 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who the other 2 starting receivers are right now on their depth chart?
I know Luke McCaffrey is on the team. If you told me the other name, I would know it, but I genuinely don't.
So Luke McCaffrey is set as a starter, and then Dami Brown.
Oh, I liked him. He's fast. He is good.
He
De'Ami
is.
Brown. I liked him out of North
Yep.
Carolina.
So, and then behind all of them, they have Olamide Zaccheaus. I think you know about him.
Ironic.
Jamison Crowder.
That's a name.
Byron Pringle.
That's another name.
Martavis Bryant.
That is the name. This is insane.
Yeah.
This would be like if the NBA on TNT did their segment where they asked Chuck, where are the players now? Except if every single one of those players was on the Washington Commanders. What a wide receiver room of who's of Island of Misfit Toys.
Mitchell Tinsley, Davon Davis, Bryson Tramney, Kazimir Allen, and Marcus Rosemary, Jack Saint.
Unbelievable.
None of them Jahan Dotson.
None of them are Jahan Dotson. And this is coming from someone who was very, very high on De'Ami Brown. But Jahan Dotson is better than him. And, like, again, Olamide Zaccheaus is on their team. Well, why is he on their team? Because the Eagles tried to solve wide receiver 3, and he wasn't the answer. And it's not just that. Like, I keep harping on this because it's rattling around in my brain like a math problem in geometry that I'm just going to sit and stare at the test and never be able to solve. But I don't get value-wise why you would give up on a 24-year-old who has 1,100 yards and 2 seasons with bad quarterback play that's been inconsistent. He's been good, and then you give him to a rival, and Shane Half put this out, and it's perfect. The Eagles had an extra third-round pick, so they still have a third-round pick, even though they gave one up. And because they traded with the Dolphins this past draft. So they basically drafted, quote unquote, Jahan Dotson with a 4th-round pick this year, and they got a 5th-rounder for it and gave up a pair of 7th-rounders. Like, when you look at it that way, it gets even more insane. Talent aside, value-wise, barely any cap hit, barely any draft compensation. You're looking at a very similar draft compensation as you would normally have for this upcoming draft. Every way you look at it, I can't believe that the Eagles have once done this. I'm very excited. I'm biased. Put an asterisk as a Penn State guy. Everybody knows.
No, but still, I don't think there's a reason. I mean, you're not asking him to be wide receiver 1. Like, there's nothing to hate. If any Cowboys fans out there, like, I don't care that they got Dotson, we're still better. Like, just stop, okay? All of you, every single one of you, if the Cowboys made this exact trade, would be jumping for joy right now.
And yeah, and that's the thing. Like, in a silo, in a vacuum, like, oh yeah, Jahan Dotson, like, he's a borderline wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 3. Like, okay, yeah, doing backflips, kind of crazy. But when you look at it and what it does to the depth of this team, it feels like you just finished a Sudoku puzzle that you've been working on. Like, it feels like you just put in the final number. Is honestly how I feel today.
Like, if you could tell me, like, all right, Jahan, you just need to average like 3 to 4 a game for like 60 to 70 and maybe a touchdown every other week. If you're just asking something like that, maybe even not that much.
No,
from him.
And just because the threat of him,
like, the ball has to go around, right?
Yeah.
AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley is going to be catching the ball a ton and running the ball. Hurts is going to be running the ball. Dallas Goedert. It's like there's not that many to go around.
Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, the offense is almost so good. You're like, don't draft these guys because they will be pushing the ball around to a variety of places. But like you said, like, even if he doesn't get 4 for 60, he still has the speed to take the top off the defense. So then we talked about this before he was even on the team. It's like, do you want your eyes in the backfield if you're a safety? When Saquon hits the second level, I'd rather get hit by a fucking Amtrak train than be in the second level with just me and Saquon Barkley, because it would be less embarrassing to just get hit by the train, because he's going to break my ankles, and that's that. So are your eyes in the backfield with Saquon, Are you worried about Devontae Smith and AJ Brown getting over the top of you? And oh yeah, by the way, just for shits and giggles, let's add a fast wide receiver 3 to take the top off the defense. So you have to worry about getting behind you as well. Like as a safety, it feels like this is impossible to deal with.
And the other parts of it too is like how many cornerback 3s that he's going to be going up against are going to be better than he is.
Correct. And hey, if that's the problem in Washington is like, yeah, all right, if Terry McLaurin was injured, he was your best wide receiver and he's taking on, Trayvon Diggs and he struggled. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. Like maybe he was over his head in that aspect, but what corner? Like think of every team's cornerback 3, if you even could. Like that's another position for the Eagles that they are trying to figure out. But like think about that. And I think he is not only the obvious answer to this is they wanted speed. They wanted pop from the wide receiver 3. He is a great contested ball catcher to add to a group of them that might be the best in the league. If they are not the best, like jump ball catchers catching traffic of the league, or I'm sorry, if they're not the best wide receiver trio in the league, they're definitely the best like jump ball catching traffic guys. Like that catch that he made against Ohio State still sticks out in my head when he one hand palmed it over the guy and caught it for a touchdown.
So I'm just looking at this real quick. So in Brazil, right?
It's still funny to me that they're playing in Brazil.
I know. So obviously Jair Alexander. And they have Eric Stokes. But after that, cornerback wise, Corey Blanton, Evan Williams, Carrington Valentine.
Nobody named Carrington Valentine is locking up Devontae Smith or Jahan Dotson. This is not
Zane Anderson.
I need to watch zero film to know that they will not be locking those guys up.
Nope.
That game
the only
might
thing is
be
they did get Xavier McKinney, so safety wise that will help against this. But still,
I love Xavier McKinney.
Me too. You were pulling hard for him this offseason.
I wanted him so bad, but he is an expensive price tag, and then you can't do things like this. So,
and this is your reminder, everybody: the game's on Peacock. Okay,
game's on Peacock.
You've been told. You've been warned again.
I'm going to tell you what: if everyone's going to either 1 cramp up or 2, this game's ending 49-42. There's no way this game is a 13-10 Big Ten West game.
Be hilarious if it is. I feel like Brazilian people would just get so mad. Actually, they probably wouldn't because they're just used to soccer, and that's usually like 1-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. They're going to watch J.J. Brown catch a pass and think he teleported through a portal to get there. That game, I think that game's going to be awesome. And that's someone who spent the offseason being like, are we sure Jordan Love's a top 5 quarterback?
Well, congratulations, Aiden.
Listen, Mekhi Becton is the guard. Jahan Dotson is the wide receiver 3. We are done on offense. Nobody get hurt. Nobody do anything. Don't make any sudden movements between now and when you're on Peacock in Brazil. Don't move. I don't even want to see the offense. I don't want
them stepping on the field last preseason game.
Hell no. I want them signing autographs for fans on the sideline.
I wouldn't even do that. Might cramp up your hand.
Yes. No. Yeah, exactly. I don't even want
that.
Be
like Aaron Judge and apparently don't.
Totally still for 2 weeks.
Be like Aaron Judge and apparently don't turn around and wave to the kids and have the Staten Island coach talk shit. Did you see that?
No.
The coach of the Staten Island Little League team was like, Aaron Judge didn't even turn around and wave to the kids. He's a terrible person. And the Yankees put out a whole statement about it today. It was hilarious.
What a controversy. Wait, he was playing in the game though?
No, because yes, he was on deck. He was on deck, and they were playing at the Little League Stadium, and Aaron Judge didn't turn around because they were yelling his name, and the Staten Island Little League coach was like, he's a horrible person.
Didn't they meet them pregame?
Yes,
I saw the video. Why would he? Okay, he's playing in a Major League Baseball game. Why he can't turn around and talk to little kids?
So the Yankees are like, well, we were gonna invite the entire team to a game when you guys got back from Staten Island, but your coach is a douche.
Yeah, you kind of messed that up. That's wild. Like if you're a baseball coach, do you want your players in the on deck circle talking to the parents in the stand when you guys play a game? Like what? Come on.
Exactly.
That's kind of wild.
All right, let's hit a little Cowboys real quick before we get out of here. So,
did you guys sign any receivers?
No, but we signed a hell of a lot of other people.
Okay.
Jerry Jones was not lying when he said he was all in. He's been all in on August trades and August free agency. Carl Lawson signed last week. He's going to make this team and play. They just made the trade last week for Jordan Phillips, who then came into the game
Great guy
with the team 2 days and just made impacts all over the field. He's going to make this team, especially with Mozzie Smith,
high character
continuously to underperform and had an allergic reaction and couldn't play in the game the other day. But now,
wait, allergic to what?
Milk.
You didn't know he was allergic to milk? I feel like that's something you learned. That's all I had in the school cafeteria. I would have learned on day one.
Yep. Just unbelievable. But they finally did it. They went out and signed a guy that Cowboys fans have been wanting them to sign for years, in Linval Joseph, who's now 35, I think. Former.
He was on the Eagles in 2022 and he was a free agent in the middle of the season.
I know. At this point, just go do it and sign. Can we please sign Ndamukong Suh at this point? Because Cowboys fans have wanted it for years. Like, just do what the Eagles did 3 years ago. Okay, do it now.
We did it midway through the season when our starting defensive tackle got hurt. But yeah, do that.
They're paying him. They're paying. It could be up to a $4 million deal for this year, which tells me he will be the starting one technique for this team.
He is good. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, his PFF grade was not great last year. I think it was like a 35. But it's funny. They're literally just remaking the Buffalo Bills interior defensive line from last year,
which didn't work.
Yep,
last year.
Mm-hmm. So,
good strategy. I don't know.
We got a big space eater. They're finally making moves in free agency. Aiden, free agency is not done. Just because it started months ago. Okay, it continues. It's not like you have to do it week 1 or week 2. Free agency is an ongoing thing until that there's But so
it never ends.
He didn't lie. They're in. They're
all
in. Yeah. So I think Mike Zimmer obviously had him. He was Mike Zimmer's been a huge fan of him. Had him in Minnesota. So. Just like Eric Kendricks too, it's a guy that knows his scheme, knows how to play within. He's not somebody that's going to flash, right? He's just a space eater trying to help the linebackers eat and let other guys do their job. So we'll see. It's not splashy, but it's a move that I think was necessary for this team. Apparently signing one of the best wide receivers in the league, your quarterback, or one of the best defensive players of ever in this league is not necessary. So.
Well, they'll get it done, right? I got time. What's today?
It's just like, if you're telling me Jefferson's getting 35 a year and you're offering CeeDee 33 and there's still a holdup, like what? Give him 34.
But also, they knew Justin Jefferson was going to sign, and they had the ability to sign CeeDee Lamb before that, so they didn't run into this problem, knowing CeeDee Lamb wanted Justin Jefferson money. So you could have just set the market. Instead, you let Jefferson sign first, and now he wants more than that. So
there was apparently talk that CeeDee wasn't going to sign because he wanted to see, and he knew Jefferson was going to get a deal.
Even if you match it, if you're like, don't you think CeeDee Lamb? We did this before when that report came out.
Yep,
he is arguably as productive as Justin Jefferson has been.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you give him 35?
Because it's Jerry Jones.
I don't.
He's got to feel like he won something.
He did.
Yeah. You drafted him. You won then, and you gave him 88.
The Raiders took Henry Ruggs 5 picks in front of you, and you drafted CeeDee Lamb at pick 18, and now he's arguably the best wide receiver in football. You did win. You won.
And Henry Ruggs is in jail.
Yeah. They took. Think of all the guys that got taken before him.
Ugh. The other issue I'm hearing too is on CeeDee's side, is with the Ayuk issue in limbo, right? If he ended up, let's say, getting traded to the Steelers and the Steelers gave him a astronomical like 33 a year, CeeDee would, would want more. So that could also be hindering it. But it just, get it done. If he's not on the field week 1 in Cleveland, I think it's a continuation of, and I keep saying this, the offseason was a continuation. Like the Packers game just hasn't ended. It's just the game. It's just everything's been a continuation of how that game went.
He'll be on the field week 1, but it's just like you're losing days for no reason. Is what it feels like.
Yep. And Jerry keeps coming. He's like, well, he wouldn't be playing in this game anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, Jerry, look at it that way. Sure.
I don't like. I always feel like holdout guys. It's just tough. Like I feel like they always come in and they're rusty. It's just not the same as you can do those individual workouts, but it's just not the same as being there. So
yep.
I'm always concerned when guys are holding out, but he is worth it.
And then the other biggest issue right now is tackle depth on this team. So Chuma Edoga, I talked about, he broke his toe. He's going to be out. He's going to make the team and then be put on IR immediately. But Tyler Guyton obviously thrown into the left tackle starting spot. He had to actually remove himself from practice yesterday, apparently with knee soreness. So don't love that.
No.
Not terribly alarmed because it happens. He's young. He's a rookie. We'll see. But behind him, it's like not good. Because then on the right-hand side, Terrence Steele, right, coming off not a great year last year, but it's being said it's his best camp he's ever had. He's now fully recovered from the ACL injury. Can he get back to that? He was arguably a top 5 run tackle, run blocking tackle in the league 2 years ago before he got hurt. Can he get back to that form? But behind the two of them, it's ass. It's bad. It's Matt Luetzko from North Dakota, not North Dakota State, just North Dakota.
Just the North Dakota.
Just North Dakota. He's bad, very bad. Ball, who's been on this team, he from Marshall, also big powerhouse. He's been very bad for years. Not good. Then there's Asim Richards, or Awesome Richards as people call him, but they're really putting him more at guard, so he kind of can play that. So there's nothing right now behind. So you want to talk about being an injury away? We've been an injury away for years too with Tyron Smith. Now it's just not good.
No, it's just not good. Now you're an injury away with the rookie who,
and we're about to start 2 rookies on the offensive line week 1. Now it's still a battle at center between Cooper Beebe and Brock Hoffman, but Beebe looked really good in the last preseason game against the Raiders. Snaps if you told me 2 weeks ago it wasn't a competition, like Beebe couldn't even figure out how to snap the ball. Again, he didn't play center at K-State. But now he's figured out the snap. His toughness is there. He's figuring out, snap, step, get to the second level. It's coming together. So I think it's an actual real competition. Mike Solari, the offensive line coach, we've talked about this, he loves veterans. He's giving up a veteran at left tackle now. So is he going to fold and not give the job to Brock Hoffman, who he loves? We'll see. But they could be starting 2 rookies on the offensive line. And they're going to count on a lot of young guys this year, a lot of young guys.
I think with Cooper Beebe, it might be one of those situations where if he does not start week 1, that doesn't mean he will not start later on down the road. I feel like that's something, if things aren't working out, you make a change and he's in there by week 3, week 4. You see that more with quarterbacks than centers, obviously, but I definitely think that could be in play.
Yep.
I think he's so good. I think Guyton will be good. The knee soreness thing definitely worries me, but I do think
I'm very excited.
With the mentality they're having, which is almost like this season is a stepping stone to more cap space, you might as well just play these guys now.
Yep, 100%. So that's really, signing of bringing in older guys right now, seeing what the rookies can do, and continuously not signing CeeDee Lamb. Even though Jerry came out and said that they're getting closer, and Dak did say that there has been good discussions. I think eventually it's all going to happen. And then I believe next offseason, Micah Parsons is going to be the highest paid non-quarterback. Not highest paid defensive player. I think he's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback.
Makes sense the way that these contracts are trending in the position that he's playing at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. he's just a weapon, right? And I think Mike Zimmer is going to unfold another level of his game too, because he loves coming. Mike is so good up the A gap, and that's what Mike Zimmer's scheme is all about. So I think he's going to make even more money.
He probably will.
And if he doesn't, he can just do his podcast and make tons of money as well.
Hey, if he doesn't make it there, we are in the business of taking former Penn State players and bringing them to the Eagles so he can come play for us.
On that note, I'm going to leave. Okay.
No, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Cooper Dejean plays football this week, baby. The first time. Gives us a little bit of excitement for a preseason game that hasn't mattered much so far. I'm excited to see him on the field, see what he can do. And Kevin, do you remember how we ended up with Cooper Dejean?
I forget.
The Washington Commanders were willing to trade down and allow us to trade up to come get him. These are moves that if you're a Commanders fan 2-3 years down the line, you're going to be like, this is the stuff that gets people fired. So we will see. But Cooper Dejean on the field this week. We'll see.
Cooper Dejean. Thank you, Dan Quinn. We much appreciate it. But thank you to everybody for watching, for listening. There is real, live, actual football this weekend. College football week 0 starts this week. Actual teams like Florida State playing. So can't believe it. College game day will be on this week. It's been like 70 degrees. It's beautiful outside. It's going to get hot again, of course. But we're so close.
I'll tell you what, these mornings, the air tastes like college football when you step outside in the morning this week. I mean, I'm all about it.
And as we record this, we're recording this on Thursday. We are 2 weeks away from the first NFL game
on NBC. But on Friday, it's on Peacock.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you have not yet, make sure you are following us everywhere. Social media, Birds vs. Boys Pod, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, across the board. Anywhere you want to listen to podcasts, we are there. Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, MySpace. We're everywhere. Birds vs. Boys Pod. And for the viewing pleasure, if you want to see our beautiful hair, and if you are watching, make sure you head over to our YouTube page, or if you're already there, thank you very much. Make sure you smash. We just hit 900, our next milestone. We are looking to hit 1,000. Tell your friends, tell your family. It's Birds vs. Boys is the name, but if you could be a fan of anybody, even the Commanders, and you can get talk of football here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Till next week. One last week of preseason.
And thank you for doing business with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a pleasure doing business with you always.
Hate it.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope. I'm going to drink bleach. Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year. This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.